Welcome to Mission Minute News. I'm Dominican Sister of Mission San Jose, Jean Harris. First, the headlines. Pope pleads for dialogue and peace in Middle East. Pope's Council of Cardinals addresses key issues. Vatican document defends human dignity. Global statistics, more Catholics, fewer vocations. A new kind of sister. A new use for convents. Thieves attack SVD mission in Odessa. These stories and more on Mission Minute News. Pope pleads for dialogue and peace in Middle East. On Sunday, April 14th, after the Regina Coeli, Pope Francis made a heartfelt appeal to halt the spiral of violence in the Middle East and for all nations to favor negotiation for peace, as well as assistance for those suffering in Gaza. He called for a stop to actions that fuel the spiral of violence and risk plunging the region into an even wider war. The Pope wants a ceasefire in Gaza and that negotiation be pursued with determination. He called the suffering there a humanitarian catastrophe, which deserves immediate alleviation, including release of the hostages. So much suffering. Yes to dialogue and yes to peace. Children are bearing a particular burden in the war, Francis added, and at the end of next month, May 25-26, as the Church honors all children on the first World Children's Day, he asks children everywhere to share their desire for a better world, a world at peace. Pope's Council of Cardinals addresses key issues. Vatican News reports that the Council of Cardinals, known as the C9, together with the Pope, met on April 15-16 at Casa Santa Marta in the Vatican. Discussions focused on several areas, including the global situation and prayers for negotiations to end the conflicts in different parts of the world. Deliberations included a report by Cardinal Mario Grech and Monsignor Piero Coda about the current synod, a reflection on the implementation of the Apostolic Constitution Praedicate Evangelium in diocesan curias, reports from each cardinal on the social, political, and ecclesial situation of the different regions, and references and prayers dedicated to the realities of conflict, particularly in the Middle East and Ukraine. The cardinals also discussed the role of women in the Church and listened to the reflections of Sister Regina da Costa Pedro of the Congregation of the Missionaries of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, who shared real-life stories and thoughts of a number of Brazilian women, and to Professor Stella Mora of the Faculty of Theology at the Pontifical Gregorian University, who spoke about the way various cultures appreciate the role of women around the world. Pope Francis established the Council in September 2013, just 6 months after his election, to assist him in the governance of the Universal Church and in a project to revise the Roman Curia. The latter came to fruition with the new Apostolic Constitution Praedicate Evangelium, published in March 2022. The Council will meet again in June. Vatican document defends human dignity. The Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith's new document, Dignitas Infinita, took 5 years to complete and builds on the papal magisterium of the last decade. From war to poverty, from violence against migrants to violence against women, from abortion to surrogate motherhood to euthanasia, from gender theory to digital violence. The new document commemorates the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of December 1948 and reaffirms the indispensable nature of the dignity of the human person in Christian anthropology. 3 chapters offer the foundations for the 4th chapter, which is dedicated to some grave violations of human dignity. The first 3 parts of the Declaration recall fundamental principles. In the light of Revelation, the Church resolutely reiterates and confirms the ontological dignity of the human person, created in the image and likeness of God and redeemed in Jesus Christ. This is an inalienable dignity corresponding to human nature apart from all cultural change. It is a gift and therefore present in an unborn child, an unconscious person, or an older person in distress. Christ, by becoming incarnate, confirmed the dignity of the body and soul, and in his rising revealed to us that human dignity rests above all on the fact that we are called to communion with God. Furthermore, the document stresses that the concept of human dignity is also occasionally misused to justify an arbitrary proliferation of new rights, as if the ability to express and realize every individual preference or subjective desire should be guaranteed. The Declaration then presents the comprehensive but not exhaustive list of grave violations of human dignity. Poverty, one of the greatest injustices in the contemporary world. Human trafficking in its tragic dimensions, vile activity, a disgrace to our societies that claim to be civilized and whose exploiters and clients need serious examination of conscience. War and the travail of migrants whose lives are arrested, unable to start a family, work, or eat. The marketing of human organs and tissues, sexual abuse and sexual exploitation of boys and girls, slave labor, including prostitution, the drug and weapons trade, terrorism, and international organized crime. Offenses against life itself, such as murder, genocide, abortion, euthanasia, and willful suicide, must be recognized as contrary to human dignity, but also as all violations of the integrity of the human person, such as mutilation, physical and mental torture, undue psychological pressures. The death penalty, which violates the inalienable dignity of every person, regardless of circumstances. All offenses against human dignity, such as subhuman living conditions, arbitrary imprisonment, deportation, the selling of women and children, degrading working conditions where individuals are treated as mere tools for profit rather than free and responsible persons, and digital violence like cyberbullying, pornography, the exploitation of persons for sexual purposes or through gambling. A section on gender theory stresses that every sign of unjust discrimination against homosexual persons is to be carefully avoided, particularly any form of aggression and violence. Sex change is judged negatively, since it risks threatening the unique dignity the person has received from the moment of birth. But this does not exclude the possibility that a person with genital abnormalities that are already evident at birth or that develop later may choose to receive the assistance of healthcare professionals to resolve these abnormalities. Dignitas Infinita ends, urging that respect for the dignity of the human person beyond all circumstances be placed at the center of the commitment to the common good and at the center of every legal system. Global statistics: more Catholics, fewer vocations. The Holy See has now published the 2022 Statistical Yearbook of the Church, edited by its Central Statistical Office, detailing the worldwide numbers of bishops, priests, men and women religious, and deacons serving from December 1st of 2022 through December 31st of 2023. Here are a few salient details of some basic aspects of the Church between 2021 and 2022. 9 new episcopal sees and 1 apostolic administration were established. 2 episcopal sees were elevated to metropolitan sees, and 1 apostolic vicariate to an episcopal see. The number of baptized Catholics has increased globally from 1.3276 billion to 1.39 billion, an overall increase of 1%. The African continent leads the increase at 3% to 273 million. Europe is stable at 286 million. The Americas and Asia show growth under 1%, paralleling their demographic development, and the 19 island countries of Oceania reported stability. Bishops' numbers have increased by 13, 0.25%, to a total of 5,353 bishops. Much of this is in Africa and Asia. The Americas are stable at 2,000 and Oceania at 130. But Europe declined by 10 to now number 1,666. Continuing a trend since 2012, the global number of priests decreased by 142 to 400,730. Deacons, on the other hand, continue to increase during this period by 2% to 50,150. The number of non-priest professed religious men contracted at the global level, falling to 49,414, mostly in Europe, Africa, and Oceania, while Asian religious men increased considerably, and also the Americas, though somewhat less. Professed religious women once constituted a population of considerable size. In 2022, they exceeded the number of priests across the world by almost 47%, but are currently in sharp decline. Globally, they are down to 599,228 after a 1.6% decline. Africa's religious women went up by 1.7%, and Southeast Asia by 0.1%. But decreases are seen in South and Central America by 2.5%, North America by 3%, Europe by 3.5%, and Oceania by 3.6%. Globally, major seminarian numbers have also declined to 108,481, or by 1.3%. Africa increased by 2.1% and Oceania by 1.3%, but Europe, the Americas, and Asia have decreased sharply. Numbers are Africa, 34,541, Asia, 31,767, and the Americas, 27,738. Europe, 14,461, and Oceania, 974 major seminarians. A new kind of sister. In a February 5th article in the Global Sisters Report, Franciscan Sister of Perpetual Adoration, Judith Ann Schaefer, poses the question, what might be the future of religious life, especially that of women religious, as it becomes clearer that many of their communities will no longer exist, at least in their present form. And here we are, many orders closing, selling their beautiful, cherished properties, making the most of the waning years of their once voluminous gifts to the people of God, the Church, and providing ample fodder for analysis by psychologists and psychotherapists like Sister Schaefer. Even as sister groups seek to retain their distinctive values, they yet must replace expressions of them with what could threaten their former identity. Women religious, individually and communally, must adopt new attitudes of interindividuality and interdependence, possibly affecting them at deep emotional levels that also call for wholesome expression. According to David McClelland in his book, The Achieving Society, the sisters are being challenged to discern and perform new functions that meet new needs, their own and others. Each will need to be true to herself rather than faithful to an externally regulated pattern. Are today's sisters up to this shift in self-actualization, reaching a level of maturity rare in the history of humankind? True to their long history of adaptation, the answer is surely yes. They are already coming to know the cosmic Christ in new, life-giving ways, true to themselves, to others, and to all of creation. The new use for convents. Where have all the sisters gone? Have you been wondering? For whatever reason, convents, including sprawling mother houses, are relatively empty. Across the U.S., Catholic women religious are transitioning for their assets of land and buildings into meeting other needs. Not that they planned to do this, as their composite number has declined from 180,000 in 1965 to 80,000 in the year 2000 to around 35,000 now. Congregations no longer need the massive convents on huge campuses that were built for hundreds of sisters many decades ago. There are a few exceptions to this sobering picture. Orders experiencing growth are those serving conservative factions of the American Catholic Church, but the vast majority are shrinking. So what are these other needs emerging to use the old buildings? Many groups are following the lead of a story we reported earlier, that of the community of St. Joseph of Orange, California. They're converting their main building to 50 low-income housing units. A great idea, but no easy task. Thankfully, with decades of experience working with people, sisters generally are expert at overcoming obstacles. They collaborate. The uses will be new, but so are the times, and, true to form, the sisters are meeting the needs. Thieves attack SVD mission in Odisha. A group of thieves looted the SVD Divine Word mission in Odisha, a state in western India, on the evening of April 10th. The Provincial reported that 11 people entered the teachers' quarters at St. Arnold Primary School in the village of Bagdehi, headquarters of the SVD India East Province, and threatened the workers and the teachers. After confiscating their valuables and mobile phones, the thieves locked them in a room and strictly ordered them not to shout or call for help. At gunpoint, they then asked a female employee to lead them to the confrere's residence, threatening death to her daughter if she refused. Encountering Father Christopher John, The intruders assaulted him and destroyed his mobile phone. Then, upon entering the priest's residence, they thrashed the priests with curtain rods and chairs, tied their hands and legs, and locked them in a room, the provincial said. They also destroyed all but one mobile phone, which was hidden, and one laptop, searched the rooms for cash, which amounted to less than 100,000 rupees, or $1,200, and left the mission around 1 a.m. with their loot. Gradually, the priests made contact with the workers and teachers, the police and medical services, first at a facility managed by the Handmaids of Mary, nuns, and then at the district hospital in Jharsuguda. After treatment, the 4 injured clergy were transported back to their mission by priests from the provincial house. Over 93% of the population of Odisha is Hindu. Catholics comprise just 2.7%. The state was the scene of a series of riots led by radical Hindus in 2008 that left roughly 100 people dead, thousands injured, 300 churches and 6,000 homes destroyed, and 50,000 people displaced. Such incidents have been on the rise against the Christian and Catholic community lately in India, fanned by the Hindus and silently supported by the ruling BJP political party. New church roof means new life for parishioners. Parishioners at Immaculate Conception Church in the Thai village of Sangkamphantana are celebrating Easter time with a brand new roof that will keep them dry in the rains and cooler in the heat. Father Trong Lee, SVD, said the church, located near the Mekong River bordering Laos, had needed a new roof and ceiling ever since he arrived there 4 years ago. But a recent deluge broke the camel's back and greatly increased the urgency. The rainy season has always been a challenge with the old church, Father Trong said, but this year saw a lot of damage, even flooding the computer room. Thank God none of the electronics was damaged, because I don't know where we'd get the money for replacements. To finally fix the roof and ceiling, other projects were put on hold. With sizable assistance from the Chicago Province Missions Office and donations from local and nearby villagers who coordinated fundraising by doing good deeds toward a money tree, the needed money was raised. Not only that, but the villagers also provided the skills and expertise to build the new roof and ceiling, which clearly has enhanced the worship experience. Through the whole experience, I can sense a renewal in the life of the parish. This was also the first project that I delegated everything to the parish council and the parishioners. They felt it was their church and they were responsible for it. They were more than happy to lend a hand. SSPS Sisters, 125 years in Papua New Guinea. 4 Holy Spirit missionary sisters, SSPS, arrived on mainland New Guinea on March 26, 1899, to begin a new SSPS mission. They were Sisters Ursula Sensen, Fridolina Vecht, Superior, Valeria Dietzen, and Martha Sieferding, all from Germany, all teachers, and all but one under 36 years of age. This year they celebrate 125 years in Papua New Guinea. The sisters came in response to a call for assistance from the first 6 Divine Word missionaries in the South Seas who had arrived on Tumileo Island 3 years before and needed help to bring the good news to the local women. Wrote Sister Valeria to Mother Maria Helena Stollenwerk, on 26 March at 12 o'clock, 1899, we arrived in Berlenhofen, the goal of our journey. A crowd of children from neighboring villages had gathered at the harbor, all very happy about our arrival. They were not afraid of us. They pressed around us and took us by the hand, and so, accompanied by the little ones, we made our entry here in a manner that reminded us of the Lord's entry into Jerusalem. It was Palm Sunday. After many years, the spirit of the sisters remains steadfast, despite nature's turmoil. Amid 2024 floodwaters after a powerful earthquake, the faithful journeyed from Suimbo to Timbunke for the Stations of the Cross on Good Friday. Catechists sent forth in Sao Paulo Parish. The parish of Our Lady of Fatima in Sao Paulo recently celebrated a special Eucharist to send forth catechists who are starting a critical mission, teaching children about the sacraments of Christian initiation, as well as teaching classes in catechumenate, pre-confirmation, and missionary adolescence. During the Mass, Father Lucine Paulino, SVD, parish priest, talked about how crucial the catechist's mission is in guiding the sacramental life of children, teenagers, young people, and adults. Father introduced the catechists to the community and thanked them for their service. The community pledged their support, recognizing the vital role of the catechists in nurturing faith among generations. The Mass ended with a prayer and sending off ceremony in which the catechists received blessings and were encouraged to carry out their roles with love, patience, and wisdom. Walking with Moms in Need. With the encouragement of Bishop Mark Brennan of the Diocese of Wheeling, Charleston, Father Tien Duc Nguyen, SVD, and the people of St. Thomas Parish have established a Walking with Moms in Need chapter in Gassaway, West Virginia. Walking with Moms in Need is a nationwide parish-based initiative to assist pregnant women and parenting mothers who need support. At St. Thomas, 2 nurses and Mrs. Kari Friend, who became a Catholic this Easter Vigil, volunteer to oversee the ministry. Already, they held a shower for 2 expectant mothers, and 1 baby was baptized. Father Tien writes, "We are a tiny community, yet we care for the needy. As a pastor, I am so glad that parishioners of St. Thomas really support all the ministries we have: the food pantry, the backpack program, utility assistance, and Walking with Moms in Need. They put their faith into action." If you have a comment or question about any of our stories, please email us at missionminutenews@wordnet.tv. You can also post your comments below each video on YouTube. We promise to respond. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon. Share with others about the channel and the variety of programs you enjoy there. Please join us every Wednesday for our online Eucharist and Adoration and Benediction of the Blessed Sacrament, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, or catch it later on YouTube. Send us your prayer requests or intentions for Eucharist by contacting us by phone at 909-383-4333, or send us an email to mail@wordnet.tv. This is Mission Minute News. Until we meet again, stay safe and well, and may Jesus' love for you make you smile.